Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Happy birthday to you. And y'all make sure y'all have a safe and a happy 4th of July. Enjoy the fireworks. Now y'all, I want to get back into Jarvis Butts, okay? Now you know Jarvis was charged in the murder of Nazaria Harris. Now, he's charged. He done been hit with another charge.
Nazaria Harris was last seen January 9th of last year. 41-year-old Jarvis Butts is charged with her murder and sexual assault in connection with her disappearance. 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham in court today as prosecutors calling more witnesses. The 24th and final witness is currently on the stand in the Jarvis Butts preliminary hearing. But we also heard from Wayne County's deputy medical examiner. Did you see anything in there that would have caused Nazaria to die naturally? No. Wayne County's deputy medical examiner says he reviewed Nazaria Harris's medical records, but the defense
Hey, Nazaria.
testimony, considering the fact her body has not been recovered. So, if you don't have a body, you can't really apply this to whether a person was attacked. Correct. Detroit Police Sergeant Shannon Jones, the 24th and final witness of the preliminary exam, explained how she inherited the case from the Detroit Public Schools Police Department and the red flag that stood out to her from the start.
For one, she's never been missing before. There's been no updates on any of her social media, which is very uncommon for a young child or juvenile. They're addicted to those. There had been a last known contact that she had possibly met somebody, is what we were informed, that there was a text message.
Jones discussed the search of the River Rouge area where clothing items like this shoe, later determined to match one belonging to Harris, were found. The sergeant says investigators executed at least 20 search warrants in the case, including electronic devices belonging to Butts. They say they found questionable Google searches from December 2023, a month before Harris disappeared. The searches surround the belief that Butts impregnated Harris.
How them glasses get in the car and her body out there?
Drink me and abort your baby. The verbal abortion team by Maya. And the site visited is plannedparenthood.org/learn/abortion/the abortion pill.
Sergeant Jones will be back on the stand at 10 a.m.
Y'all, he about to come home tomorrow. He coming home tomorrow, y'all.
Behind me. So the back seat behind me.
He coming home tomorrow. He know everything.
Yeah, she speaks.
This is Cordell, y'all. Now, let me tell y'all something.
Hi.
Cordell was in the car when they repaired and fixed the water pump. So with the water pump, if you think about it, it needs antifreeze, right? After you take the water pump out, you replace it back with antifreeze. So did they really work on the water pump? Did it take both of them to go out there to work on the water pump? What about the antifreeze that that Jarvis Butt looked up on the internet about the antifreeze with Nazaria Harris situation?
I believe she get out to the front seat, just herself to the front seat of his truck.
And he did not ask,
Starting the truck.
man, what you gonna get that girl? You gonna get that girl something to eat, some chips or something?
It took a little minute. So, like I said, it was a difficult job, so it took a while. At some point, I believe the truck ran out of gas, so we had to stop. When we were doing push his truck.
Y'all, Jarvis Butt is going down. This is the amount of his bond. His bond, he can't afford to pay that. He can't afford to pay this bond, y'all. Now, y'all got to realize I got to be careful how I present this case due to YouTube policy, okay? So a lot of little things that I'm going to use to describe what I'm talking about is characters, okay? Common characters of food, okay, that you eat. Now, this is Jarvis Butt demographic information. Yes. And that bun, he ain't going nowhere. That was in 2024. Okay. Y'all, I appreciate in Nazaria Harris that
Try to get rid of the first, try to get rid of the baby. He gave in to her, you know what I'm saying, and try to do whatever he could do. She was feeling sick or whatever. Alright, so he gets in the car, drops her off, go back home. Alright, when she gets out to go home, she go in the house. Shannon didn't get it to her, whether they ain't calling, she's in Jarvis.
who is this person?
Because she called to get directions earlier that day while she's at school. So once she get back, they get the fussing at her from going up to Jarvis shop and calling fast and this and that. And then it all came out. You know,
Kind of figure this.
confirmed that she was pregnant, was Jarvis' baby. And Shannon lost it. Shannon lost it real bad.
I believe she lost it.
Jumped on Nazaria, beating her, hitting her in the head with some
Allegedly.
right there in the house that they overlooked. And killed Nazaria. Because she was already probably having complications. Remember, from whatever they've been giving her to try to get rid of the baby. Remember, she was sick.
That's what I was thinking.
Instead of them calling the nurse, they called the counselor. School failed them. So once
I wonder would this person take the stand, y'all?
dies right there. So they panic. So they get her, the twin sister, help Shannon get her into the mama car, and they go and meet Jarvis.
I told y'all.
Jarvis out there riding with the other girlfriend there. Jarvis was going to all these different
Somebody had to be working with him.
establishing his alibi. Because he knew what had happened between her and Shannon. They had nothing to do with it. But knew that he was also the last person seen with her that probably was questioned to about her being alive. So once Shannon and the sister go out there to meet them out there, they get rid of the body, right? So once they get rid of the body, he tells them, bring some extra clothes or whatever. So you get rid of the body. And
Y'all, to take those clothes out there,
which is working.
to take those clothes out there, you got to know that, be familiar with the area.
Know what she had on the day at school. She know we know where she lived. Y'all fuss with the clothes she had on. But they threw out different clothes with limited amount of blood and stuff on it. Why?
He got to be involved too.
The jacket out for her. And probably some other shoes and stuff that was already in the house. But she still buried in what we saw her in, which is that colorful jacket, them jeans, and some other shoes, whatever she is. And I don't think she buried nowhere where she can't be found because they somewhere else and make people go search in the opposite direction. So she is deceased, but she was killed by Shannon in a rage because of her jealousy or whatever she had going on with Jarvis. And at the end of the day, the mom and the sister knows what Shannon did, and they're
Nazaria broke the code, y'all.
Shannon. And Shannon hoping that Jarvis don't snitch on him, but he's not going to tell until after they try to convict him of the murder, and he see the difference between the time. Remember, his lawyer said they're not going to contest and fight the fact that he had inappropriate relations with her. Okay, go ahead and bound it over. But what we are fighting is murder. Why? Because there's no body. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Now, you do know that Shannon and all of them have already made deals with the DA. Why? Because without Shannon, the mom, King, without all those people, they would not have a case for murder against this young man.
So King about to get out, but I know he gonna have to go to trial.
Their statements and testimonies to present what it was they wanted to present to the court, that he was last seen with it and he is the one that killed him. But believe me, there's other text messages, all kind of messages in their phones that they took. But if they convict them and show that they are also guilty, then who would be on the stand and testify or could testify against Jarvis? Because they all could get up there and easily defend because
Right.
And they agreed to testify against Jarvis and say what it is that they want them to say. In terms
Will Shannon testify against him, y'all?
charged with anything, but trust me, they know exactly what happened.
That's right.
What happened there to get Jarvis and get Jarvis off the street. Like he's the problem. He's the ringleader. But
So there you have it. Jarvis Butts hit with a new charge. New charge. Brand new charge. What y'all think? What y'all think about this? I want to hear from y'all in the comment section. You do have a voice. This is Jarvis Ramon Butts. And yes, he has been slapped with another charge in the connection with the SA. Then she was 12-year-old Boston girl. A Boston girl, y'all. So that means that he was running from different states. Different states. Getting off. Getting away. Will they give him the death penalty? Because he came into another state. He came into Michigan. We can't find Nazaria Harris' body, which was his niece. Those his kids. Her auntie, kid's cousin. This man need to be out the street, y'all. And that's what we have to do to take him down. Now let's hear from the aunt. Beauty and the Beast. This is how allegedly some women is desperate for a man. For a man, y'all. She probably feel like a queen. He know how to make women feel like a Barbie doll. Y'all think she's gonna come forward? Do y'all think she's gonna talk? That's Nazaria Harris' cousin. That's Shannon's daughter. That's Jarvis Butts' daughter.
And were you inside your vehicle?
Yes.
You arrived in the daylight, right?
Yes.
And that's, I think, what you're referring to, right? Initially, that's when you didn't yet know somebody was in the truck. So at the beginning, when you first got there, right, you didn't know right away that somebody was in the truck.
No, I didn't.
Like you had said before, because it was so light outside, it was a bit difficult to see into the truck.
I wasn't really paying attention to this truck outside.
Sure. And then in your police interview, you referred to then seeing a light in the truck, and that's when you started to see somebody.
Yeah. That's when the door opened.
I don't know about that.
Light turned on, and at the same time the door opened.
That's the reason we left the bar.
Okay, because the truck door was open. Yes.
Why you didn't get out and see what was going on?
And you said that you saw a couple different times her go back and forth to the gas station.
Yeah.
And only one of those different times you were on your way to the gas station as well.
Yeah.
Listen to this, y'all.
Time she remained in front of you.
When I was going into the gas station, she was in front of me. When I walked into the gas station, she went to the left. I went straight and over to the right.
So why didn't you ask her no question?
Was it getting dark at that point? Okay.
Strange. She saw Naziah, y'all, and didn't say
We're not
nothing.
sure exactly which part of the truck this was. Okay.
You can't remember.
Abuse by the same man accused of killing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, and we're learning of new DNA analysis that could determine whether Jarvis Butts goes on trial for murder. Sean Lay following today's hearing for us, and Sean, this chilling case, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
All kind of evidence, y'all.
Chilling is a good way of putting it. Stomach turning also. Every witness, every hour here at the court. Here's what's new about this today. This is the first time we're hearing the voice of Jarvis Butts. He is 41 years old. He is accused of the sexual abuse and murder of a 13-year-old girl named Naziah Harris. She was related to one of Butts' many girlfriends, and he called Naziah his niece. The teen was last seen with Butts after school last January 9th. Then Naziah Harris went missing. Police brought Butts in for this interrogation during a search for her, where Butts told police everything he knew about the girl was on his cell phone that police seized during a search warrant. You have to listen very closely to pick up what Butts is saying, but he says he has nothing to hide. A co-worker of Butts testified that Butts and Naziah Harris were at their auto repair shop the evening Naziah Harris vanished. But Butts told investigators the last time he saw Naziah was weeks before.
He stated to me that he had last seen her at the end of December or early January
What y'all think?
at grandmother's house.
And did he say anything about knowing where the guy bus stop was?
Yes,
What did he say about that?
he said that the bus stop, her bus stop was at a 3-mile drive in Cornwall.
Back to live outside 36 District Court. Keep in mind, everyone, this is not a trial. It's a preliminary examination to see if a judge moves.
Butts is awaiting trial for the murder and sexual abuse of Naziah Harris. After listening to days of testimony last month, a judge called Butts a monster and said that opportunities to protect the 13-year-old girl were missed. Tonight, the 7 investigators are revealing years of warnings that preceded Butts' alleged crimes. Warnings that family members say were made to Children's Protective Services that could have saved Naziah's life. As
Right.
Investigator Ross Jones has uncovered.
You look at that face, and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual
Hey,
abuse, and the
Naziah.
violence she was concealing.
Years before Jarvis Butts would be charged by Wayne County's prosecutor, accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Naziah Harris, Harris's own relatives say they saw the warning signs and told anyone who would listen.
But at that point, I was like, this is too much. I'm calling the CPS. I tried, not just once.
You two, we got to get justice for this girl. We got to.
What I was saying.
Kiwana Morton and her cousin Jernell are both relatives of Naziah Harris. In February of 2022, Jernell says she learned of allegations of improper touching involving Butts and other small children. She says she was told about the claims while talking to her niece, Jarvis Butts' girlfriend, and that the alleged victims were Naziah Harris and 2 other children.
I was just like, oh my God, I was not crazy. This needs to be looked into.
She says she took the claim seriously, in part because Butts was on the sex offender registry, having spent more than 8 years in prison for 3rd-degree criminal sexual conduct. She did it at first because she believed her niece would notify police, but weeks later, Jernell did notify Child Protective Services.
And she did the right thing.
On April 13th, 2022.
This is for educating purposes, y'all.
The complaint reads, one of the children that
Come in and
Jarvis
criticism
of sexual
purposes.
abuse. Naziah, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately as well. Jarvis touched name withheld over the phone.
They basically told me if they needed me for anything else, they would reach out.
The next day, Jernell would receive a text from her niece, Butts' girlfriend, confirming that CPS had contacted her. CPS called me, the text reads. They called about the well-being of my kids, and they called back to get Jarvis info. A CPS spokeswoman would not tell 7 News Detroit ever questioned Isaiah Harris after receiving the complaint.
So he was
2
charged,
hours was
y'all.
the only complaint filed with CPS, naming Jarvis Butts.
And it wasn't easy for me to call protective services just because of the horror stories that you hear.
Kawana Morton said she heard about the same allegations against Butts from a conversation with his girlfriend 2 months after her cousins called the
And she used to
CPS.
stay with with the grandma, with the adopted
I told
mother.
them that there's a problem and they need to be aware of it. I am 90% sure that there's sexual abuse going on within the home.
Did you specifically mention Jarvis by name?
Yes, absolutely.
Internal CPS records we obtained show that investigators looked into that complaint, conducting a face-to-face interview with Butts, who strongly denied the allegation. A forensic interview was conducted with the alleged victim, and no disclosures were made. Low risk level. These are 2 complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015, naming Jarvis Butts. They allege concerns about possible molestation, physical abuse, or living conditions. Some of the complaints are generic, and none would ultimately substantiate that Butts.
Y'all tell me what y'all think. Like, share, and subscribe. CPS really failed this young lady, okay?